What is up, my friends? I did tell you that I'd be back with a bit of a reaction video to what happened between Robbo and the linesman yesterday, just before the halftime break during the Liverpool and Arsenal game. Now, let me caveat what I say with, I'm aware that I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm very much aware of that. But I've seen so much stuff written, both in articles and fan forums and social media over the past 24 hours or so, that basically wants to just take cheap shots at Liverpool. So let me say that we need to park up any club bias when we're speaking about these situations, because it impacts the whole of the game. So if you're going to reply to me with a smart arse answer in the comment section that just has to do with Liverpool, don't waste your time. I won't be reacting to it. But if you genuinely have a point that you'd like to raise, very interested to hear from you. I'm going to give you my thoughts now, but before I do, I'm going to start off with Mr. Roy Keane. Roy Keane, or Mr. Rent-A-Mouth as I like to call him these days, was a tremendous football player, somebody who wore the shirt for Ireland and for Manchester United with tremendous pride and passion. But as a pundit, he is an absolute joke. He doesn't offer any analysis. He doesn't offer any punditry. All he offers are cheap sound bites to get cheap laughs in an era where the Premier League, or in an era where Sky, who are supposed to be, you know, a prestigious broadcaster, are putting themselves down to our level. They're putting themselves down to the level of YouTubers and fan content, where we're the ones who go for these kind of laughs. We're the ones who are a little bit tongue-in-cheek. You expect better. I certainly expect better from Roy Keane. And he's just a nonsense. I don't understand what he brings to the Sky Sports team. You know, he doesn't give you any analysis on the game. He doesn't give you an insight to what it's like to be a midfielder who achieved a lot in the game. He just likes to shit on people, be negative, and say stuff for cheap sound bites. I don't like it. I don't have any interest in listening to him. And his opinion on Andy Robertson in this matter is an absolute joke. Let me start off with that. So now we move on to the incident itself. So, right, should Robbo have gone up to have a word with the linesman? Absolutely not. No player should be approaching referees in an idealistic world. But we don't live in an idealistic world. We live in the real world. And in the real world, this happens every single game, multiple times. Players come running up to referees, to linesmen, and want to have a word with them. That happens all the time. So we have to understand that that isn't right, but it happens. But what doesn't happen is the reaction that we got from this linesman yesterday. So Robbo comes up to him, and it looks like Robbo does touch on him to kind of say, you know, turn around, I want to talk to you, that kind of thing, or here, listen to me, whatever way you want to word it. But what happened from the linesman is absolutely unacceptable. The arm was thrown back, and I'm not saying that the linesman intentionally aimed for Robbo's throat. But what I am saying is it was a petulant throw of the arm from the linesman, and the cheek of him to just walk off like it doesn't matter and that he can get away with it. That is unacceptable. We'd seen what happened to Alexander Mitrovic. We've seen everybody call for Mitrovic to get a long ban. We have to have something similar here for this linesman. Now, I don't want the man to lose his job. It is not a sackable offence in my opinion, but he should be made an example of, and he should be suspended for whatever they deem necessary after the investigation. I think that's the sensible way to deal with this. But remember, I'm the Liverpool fan who stuck up for Bruno Fernandes. I'm the Liverpool fan who has often put aside my own biases to give you guys what I think a fair assessment of a situation is. And in this one, even if it was a United player, an Arsenal player, a City player, you cannot have the linesman doing that. He needs to be held accountable for his actions. I've seen people call for his head to be sacked. No, absolutely not. I don't think I wouldn't want the player to suffer that fate, and I certainly don't want this linesman to suffer it. So before we finish up, I just want to give you the latest statement that's come from the PGMOL, who are the ones that look after appointing referees in the Premier League. So the PGMOL will not be appointing Konstantin Hatzidakis to any fixtures and competition served while the FA investigates the incident involving the assistant referee and the Liverpool defender Andy Robertson at Anfield. Now, I've seen Dermot Gallagher on Sky start to use, first name basis, calling him Con. Doesn't matter if he's a nice fella, Dermot. It doesn't matter if he's out there working in soup kitchens every weekend after he finishes, or he has ambitions to want to be the next Pope. It doesn't really make a difference, mate. His actions were his actions. And yes, his character should come into question in the overall picture, but in this incident, he was at fault and he needs to be punished. That's my take on it. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. And again, do try to put aside your club biases. I'm not saying Robbo's actions were right, but it happens time and time and time again, week in and week out. And whatever club you support, you know very well that your club players do it as well. So don't try to just come and take cheap shots at Robbo. Right, my friends, I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.